What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Terrifying Crafts. Welcome back, you guys. As a child of the 90s, here recently a new movie came out, and I couldn't help but watch it. It had to be done. That movie is Dragon Ball Superhero. I have been a fan of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z since I was a kid, and so for a new movie to come out, it was definitely something I couldn't help but watch. That being the case, I will say that the movie was actually pretty decent. The storyline was great. The animation, in the most part, was actually really quite good. There were a couple areas that weren't as good, but to the most part, it was definitely a lot better than what we get in Dragon Ball Super, and a big chunk of it. That being said, I decided that since this movie is geared around Gohan specifically, that I would take this Gohan Beast and do a style swap. Though I've seen numerous artists do this in the past, I wanted to do it in a different route. That being said, let's go ahead and kick down to the table and check it out. Tadayoshi Yamamuro and Yuya Takahashi. Okay, so for the first one, the whole intention was to try and bring a version of Gohan into the piece that honestly fit the full aesthetic of Dragon Ball, from Dragon Ball Z all the way to Dragon Ball Super. In order to do that, I tried to stick with two artists that I felt gave the most prevalent oomph to the style, which was Tadayoshi Yamamuro and Yuya Takahashi. Out of the two of them, Takahashi's work tends to be a little bit darker and a little bit more gritty looking, and I liked the idea of that. Truth is, though, it was more multiple artists, not just the two of them, but those were the two most referenced for this. One of the images being the image at the beginning of the video. For this, I tried to make sure I stayed true to the design stylings that have been seen countless times over the past 30, 40 years of Dragon Ball history. Most of the artwork itself is pretty simple. It kind of just sketched out easy. No major flops, flaws, anything like that. The one area where I think I ran into a couple hiccups come later on, and most of that's when putting in coloring. I tried to go for a three-tone cell shade. However, it doesn't exactly work out precisely how I wanted it to. Alright, you guys, so there it is. First one down. As I said, this one was kind of a combination of two artists, technically three artists in one, but heavily geared at Tadayoshi Yamamuro and Yuya Takahashi. Both artists alone have done some amazing things with the Dragon Ball franchise. However, both of those styles kind of culminate together fairly well and definitely give a little bit more oomph to the style itself. That being the case, I'm not the happiest with this one, mostly because I feel like the colors kind of muddled out a little bit after I ended up taking the photo that is right here. But all in all, I am still happy with it. So, let's move on to number 2. Real quick though, a word from our not sponsors. If you're like me and you are on the go every day, go without fail, and you find yourself constantly needing a boost, needing energy, needing something to pick you up and keep you going throughout the whole of the day, look no further than Rep Sports. Honestly, the Raise Energy line has been probably one of the best energy drinks that I have found thus far. That being said, they are sugar-free, dye-free, and they have a built-in hydration formula to keep you from ending up hydrated from the 300 milligrams of caffeine in each of the energy drinks. If energy drinks aren't your thing, and you are an athlete, and you are constantly needing that extra boost before you go work out, definitely check out repsports.com, because they have a load of other options than just the energy drinks. You can get just the hydration formula in packets. You can get pre-workouts. You can get protein boosts. You can even get things to help you get a restful night's sleep. If you find this interesting, definitely go check them out. And then whenever you go to check out, use the discount code TierFiendCrafts to get a 15% discount on your order. But let's go ahead and head down to the table and get back on to number 2. Todd McFarlane. Alright, so for my second artist, technically in this case, third artist, but for the second artist that I'm going to do this in the style of, I chose Todd McFarlane. Todd's got an extremely distinct art style. Much like every other artist that left mainstream comics to form Image Comics, such as Eric Larson, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, all of them have a very distinct style in which they draw every character that has come from them. I have been a fan of Todd McFarlane's art for quite a while. One of the earlier instances that I remember seeing it was in older Spider-Man comics, and then getting to see the development and progression of that art all the way into the more modern Spawn stuff that has been his baby. With this piece, I tried to stay fairly true to that art style as best I can. As I go along, I end up realizing that the face ends up being my one major flop, in my mind at least, to this piece. I'll end up going in later and blocking out a whole chunk of areas with a black brush pen, which is probably the best pen to use if doing something in the style of Todd McFarlane or even Jim Lee. There are a few artists I know of on YouTube that refer to it as the DC style. And in reality, it's not so much DC, it's more Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee that was their style, and then other artists later on start pushing the same art styles. And it looks great in my mind, having that darker shadowed area anywhere where there's a shadow. It looks really good to accentuate the aesthetic of the piece if you want it to look more gritty and dark. Guys, there you go. The style of Todd McFarlane, definitely not my greatest area of expertise. However, I don't think it turned out way too bad. Aside from the face itself, I think everything really turned out about the way I was intending for it to look. One of the things I will again say I like about Todd McFarlane's style is the deep, deep toned shades, where there's a fold, it's going to be blacked out. Not to mention the way he expresses certain areas is definitely quite interesting. The power boosty energy around him, that was literally referenced right off of a Spawn comic, and it turned out about as good as I could expect it to, but it does also kind of destroy the feel just a hair. However, there is number 2 out of the way. I will be back with a part 2 to this video itself, and when I do, hopefully those of you that have enjoyed it will like and subscribe to this video and to the channel, and come back for part 2. In part 2, the next 2 styles that I'm going to do are going to be Butch Hartman and Genndy Tartakovsky. One of these days I will learn to get his name right. That being said, if you enjoyed what you saw here and you want to check out more, come check out our Facebook page, Tearfiend Crafts, Handcrafted Arts and Gaming, our Twitter, our Twitch, our Instagram, all Tearfiend Crafts. Then, if you have done that and you still want more, or you want to help out the channel, come check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Tearfiend Crafts. With that, you guys have a great one, and I'll catch you all next time.